Thank you so much. So I am very excited to be here, and I just want to welcome you because, you know, when you get up early like this and you come out and you're interested and you're trying to make a difference, this is what really shapes our world, our community, our families, everything. So these are the people that I love being around because you are change makers. So I'm very, very happy to have you here. The challenge I have is that normally when I speak, it's like 4 hours long. So just get comfortable. We will get through it. I'm going to try to go as quickly as we can because I have a lot of information that makes a huge, huge difference in your life. If you're a student, if you're a business, wherever you are in life, you can retrain your thinking and be happier, be more successful, and just feel better about yourself. And I think we all want that, especially today, right? These days, sometimes it's a little crazy out there. So when I tell people that I speak about happiness, first my dad shakes his head, thinks that this is never going to work, but then other people come up and they're really excited to talk to me. Yeah. They want to tell me about their own lives. They want to ask me questions. And yesterday I was in the airport and this guy standing behind me told me that his girlfriend broke up with him and I'm not happy. How am I going to get over it? And I'm giving him 2-minute tips. This is how you do it. You're going to be okay as we go through. Shoes off. You can do this. Sit down in the seat in the airplane, and this woman beside wants to chit chat. And I've got to tell you, just because I'm a happiness speaker does not mean that all the time I'm happy. So my significant other realizes this more than anyone because sometimes he wants me to make dinner and do housework. I inform him that this is the same as being in the Soviet Union labor camp. Now, in my seat, this gal sits beside me, and she says, "Where are you from?" And I tell her, and I said, "Where are you from?" She says, "The Soviet Union." I'm like, "Okay, listen up, girl. The Lord is giving you a message here." And she tells me her experience with happiness, how she just came from the Soviet Union, and now here she is, and how delighted she is and how beautiful it was just driving down the street, just arriving to America. But her daughter-in-law beside her thought it was the worst drive she'd ever been on. She said, "So what is that? How come I'm happy and I think it's the best drive, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and she thinks it's the worst thing that she's ever seen?" Do you know people like this? Yeah, right? So what are we doing and how can we change this? So happiness is what I call it. It's really called positive psychology. So I think happiness. Now, positive psychology is being utilized by the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, Google, all over this, UPS, the Pentagon. Man, if they, obviously they need a little more help on the, they bring in happiness speakers and I'm not volunteering to be one of those people. But a lot of countries utilize happiness reports and predictors, and they ask people, how happy are you, how satisfied are you? And that is indicative of how we get through bills that we need support over. So we need to take a look at these things, not only in business, not only in government, but in school. If you have a positive mindset, you are 31% more productive. People with positive mindsets are 37% higher in sales. You learn faster. You are 3 times more creative. People with positive mindsets get promoted twice as often in a 2-year span that we monitor. So positive mindset in your business is like the best business advantage you could ever have. Positive mindset in school means you're going to learn faster because that dopamine is not only giving you energy, it's helping you learn quicker. So we could take somebody that's underperforming, change their mindset so that they're more positive, and now they're getting better grades. So in education, in music, in athletics, in business, positive mindset is something that we want to get. So I'm going to share how we do that. Now, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you some scientific data on positivity. Because people may say, well, That's fine for you, but I'm just a negative person. Do we have any negative people in the room? All right. Thank you, God, that they stayed away. So I'm going to tell you the science behind positivity. Then I'm going to say, how can we make this work for us? Okay. I did highly technical drawings here for you. How can we make this work? How can we get others to be positive? Because if they were more like me, we'd be getting along a lot better. So it's not you, it's the other people around you sometimes. Then how do we make sure that we spread that to other people? Okay. Sound okay? Yeah, you guys are so easy. All right. Now, I'd like you to confer 30 seconds with your table. What comes first? Happiness or success? And please be nice about it. Got it? Okay. What is, how many people think that what comes first is success? All right. So what comes first is happiness, then success follows? All right, I think I'm seeing nods. This is an interactive session. We're all speaking English, right? What comes first is happiness, then success. There's all kinds of scientific research to show this. When people are happy, they're more successful. There is no scientific research that shows that if you are successful, you will be happy. But what do we hear and what have you said? I know you have, some of you, including myself. I'll be happy when? I'll be happy when I get a promotion. I'll be happy when I get my own TV show. I'll be happy when I get a husband. I'll be happy when I get rid of that husband. No, honestly, that's not the case. I'm blessed and blessed, thank you. Please, oh man, we're on TV. Okay. All right, not happy about that, but so we always think that we will be happy when? I'll be happy when I pass this test. I'll be happy when I get into a good school. I'll be happy when these things happen. But what happens, and why we're not happy, a lot of us, or you wouldn't be here, face it, we have some issues on happiness, is that when we get there, we change the goals. We change the goalpost. I'll be happy when I get into a good school. Oh, I'll be happy when I get into this other school. Have we done that? Yeah, I'll be happy when I hit my sales goal. Oh, and then the goals change, like, oh, darn it, now I'll be happy when I get that other sales goal. We do this, right, all the time. Now, I'll be happy when I get a car. Got the car, and I'm thinking, man, this isn't really that great of a car. I need the other car. I did this. Honestly, I went through 3 cars. My father was having a fit. But I was searching at a young age for happiness, thinking that stuff would make me happy. And why do we think that? Because what do we see on TV? Right? You will be happy when you have all these things. You'll be happy when you lose weight. There's all kinds of science studies that show people with plastic surgery lose weight. They think they're going to be happier. We take a testing of them. It looks at if they're suicidal, how happy they are, all these different things. After the plastic surgery, the weight loss, they in fact are less happy than they were before it. Because we weigh our happiness on that goal, then when we reach that goal, it's like, oh man, this didn't do it, and I'm even more upset. I look good, but I'm not happy, and happiness is fleeting. So this is the problem. We have the things that we think are going to make us happy are not what makes us happy at all. Right? This is a challenge. How many people remember Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain? You think about those people and you think, gosh, this is like it's a huge tragedy. These people, excuse me, guys, these people have ended their lives. It's tragic. Now, what I would hear people say is, how could this be? They had everything. Right? But this is the key right there. That question is the key to happiness, is you could have everything, but it's not going to make you happy. It's your perception of what that means. So when I turn on the news, I actually see, like, I hate to say this, but I'm on TV and I try not to watch TV because it depresses me. I turn on the news and I hear about disease. I hear about road rage. I see people getting out of their cars and fighting. I hear about government people not getting paid. I hear about all this stuff. And honestly, the majority of the news, in my eyes, is negative. Now, that's what I think. I think the majority of the news is negative. Even though I'm on TV, years ago, I would get bumped. I'm like the good news story. I'm the health and wellness girl. I'd get bumped because there was a car accident. We had to cover that. Thinking, hey, I'm over here with the kids with this run. Let's cover this. This is happy. But no, we have to go to the negativity because there's a thing called a stick rate. And people will watch the show when there's drama and horrific things going on. But they don't necessarily watch for the good. So I would get bumped. So what happens if you look at the news, and this is why I do this business, is you see all this negativity, and then you start to think that's the new norm. This is life, and we start to think, our brain starts to think that the ratio of positive to negative is actually, there's more negative in the world than there is positive because we now have this lens that we see the world through. If we change that lens, we change our outcomes in every single situation. And I'm going to give you 2-minute exercises today that we find over 21 days can actually recreate new neural pathways in your brain to see the good. And that's what we're doing with companies. That's what we're doing with gosh, I work with the Alzheimer's. Their caregivers are just burnt out like you wouldn't believe. That's what we do with people that are under extreme stress, is help them see the good. How do we look at the same situation and see that there's opportunity here instead of having an emotional meltdown? Who's really good at this is the military. They will put people through boot camp, extreme situations, horrific. Now they go to boot camp and they're ready for war and they're like, hoo-ah, right? They've got all that energy. I have a psychological meltdown because I can't find the keys and I've got all my groceries in my hands and I'm trying to get in the house. Now, I'm not dealing with stress very well in that moment, but how can we look at stress and see that it's better? It's better. It's not going to melt us down. We're not going to be able to not do our work for the rest of the day. That's what we'll look at today. Now, MetLife, love them. They did this little study that in their sales group, they took 10% of the top optimists in their whole sales department. So the 10% of the optimists and 90% were not, what they would consider high optimists. The 10% outsold the 90% of the whole sales department by 89%. Wow. So is it sales ability or is it likability? People that are optimistic, have optimistic mindset, positive mindset, are seen as more trustworthy. So MetLife takes a gamble. They said, we're going to hire optimists. And all the insurance skills and requirements that we had before to get onto MetLife, we're not going to go so heavy on that. We're looking for happiness. We're going to hire happiness. You can imagine, up above the conversation about this. Year one, they outperformed the rest of the department by 19%. Okay? Well, better, but not as phenomenal. Year two, they outperformed by 57%. So what does that tell you? And it's not necessarily the skills that you're going to do well. It's the attitude. It's your ability to have social support. It's your ability to interact with people. It's your ability to take action. It's your ability to be trustworthy, to be able to roll with the punches, to get yourself to take action, right? 31% more productive. So what does that tell you? They're working harder. It's something to take a look at. Companies get hugely excited about hiring optimistic people and changing their workforce over to optimistic people. Okay? Now what we see here is this external world, like the Kate Spade, the Anthony Bourdain, that we think have everything, really is only 10% predictive of somebody's happiness long term. So if I see different people in the world that, they look like they have it made. That's 10% of their long-term happiness. But 90% is what I think is happening here. So let's take a look. You probably know my background. Some of you, most of you probably do. I was homeless, sleeping in a shopping mall with a month-old baby. No fault of my own at all. I went through a relationship. I ended up being cleaned out completely, and I refused to give the baby up, and I just fought like hell to keep her with me. Now, when I talk about that story, and I hid it for a long time, to tell you the truth, because I was so embarrassed. I just thought it was a huge failure. We did fine. I ended up working at the top of Wall Street, actually, so we did okay. But it was really, really hard at the time. Now, when I go on TV and I talk about that, I tell people it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me run faster and harder and put up with stuff that I would have never put up with before because I was a weaker person before. It made me stronger to do that. Now, Tony Robbins, his dad took off and here he is, no food, right? No food in the house. And what did he do? He just said, hey, there's other options. I refuse this. Pete Best is a drummer was a drummer for the Beatles. I don't know if anybody heard of him. But Pete Best was a drummer for the Beatles until they sent him off on an errand, and then here comes Ringo Starr. See you later, Pete Best. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela spends years in jail, and then, as he said, it was a glorious experience. Pete Best said it all worked out for the best. So the key to happiness is right here. Go to jail, be homeless, have no food, and never trust the Beatles, and you will be happy. So it's how we process. It's the lens that we see that through. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Now when it comes down to it, when we look at what's happening, it's 25% of your success is IQ. This is shocking. Not to say don't study for your tests and stay in school, but 25% is IQ. 75% is your ability to get things done, get people to work with you, roll with the punches, how you deal with stress. That's key. That's key. And that's what we're looking to hire. So when you're looking to hire, people ask me, do I hire skill or do I hire will? What's the answer, guys? Will, absolutely, because you can teach. All right, you can teach what you need to teach. Oh, we're going backwards. There we go. Now, this is a World Happiness Report. It's put out by the United Nations, and it's on the world. Okay? Where do you think the United States falls on this report? Out of the whole world, what ranking would you think? What's it? 40th? Anyone else? 10? 17? Going once, going once. And we are one of the most powerful places in the world, would you say? We have things, but we're not living in a hut. I actually don't live in the shopping mall anymore. So we do have a lot of advantages. Okay, advantages. We are number 18. To me, I am shocked with this. Is anybody surprised? Yeah, I am dismayed. I am shocked. It's very disappointing. You can see that Finland is number 1, Norway number 2, Denmark 3. You guys can see this? Okay. Shocking. Our friend Canada, which seems like the sister to the States, is number 7. So it's really disappointing to see that. So I am going to ask you to pull out your phones. Something I never do when I teach, by the way. Please pull out your phones, and I'm going to ask you to do a little poll. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah. All right. So to do this poll, you're going to text this number. I just want to see. I always like to test and see what's going on here. And you are going to enter that number, and I'm going to give you your first poll question. Let me just move over to the polling. Everybody got the number before I take it off the screen? Not yet? Okay. I don't want to stress you out. Okay. Got the number? All right. Let's take a look here. The fellow that was here told me how to do this. Let me take a look. Where is he? And he's not here. Okay, let me. Let's go down here. All right. So here's our first one. Okay, now, Gallup reports the percentage of Americans who state that they are unhappy or disengaged. Now, this does not have to be merely at work. This could be just in life. I don't feel happy. Okay. Here we go. Look at that. It's fascinating, isn't it? I just love it. Is it making you happy watching this, people? All right. We're done? We're good? Okay. The actual, I'm going to just stop that. The actual, and I'm going to go over these in a little bit more, but I'll give you the answer right now. The actual percentage is 66%. Oh, man, huh? I know. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. We got another one. You ready? What are the total annual costs of disengaged and stressed workforce to the U.S. employers? What's it costing us to have these people? Everybody got their answers in? Okay, let me just stop the poll. Okay, if you don't have your answer in, you're done. The actual cost is between $450 billion and $550 billion. Get happy. Get happy right now. All right, let's go on. Got one more for you. Okay, this is a good one. Positive people are perceived to be more attractive by the opposite sex. Hey, if you're single, this is your opportunity right now. Start smiling. This is an easy one. You got it? You disbelievers, you 5%. It's yes. It is yes, and we will talk about that. If you need some dating assistance, this might be something that will be very helpful to you. Okay. How many people find that surprising, those results? A little surprised? I'm surprised. I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised and disappointed about the costs of a disengaged workforce. Man. I got a job during this homeless situation. I got a job at a garbage company. Seemed like the normal step for me. And because before then I owned a modeling agency. So here we go. And when I joined this agency, or this garbage company, they hired me for this one reason. Right? Now this is many years ago. They hired me because in the garbage industry, blonde women are highly successful. No, that is not true. They hired me because I was a blonde woman, is why they hired me. They threw the price list to me and they said, here you go sell something. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea. But I was so excited to have a job because where was I before? Shopping mall, homeless, right? I thought, oh my God, thank you, Lord, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I am so grateful, I'm so grateful. I'd go to work and I do my sales. I just try to figure it out as I went. I had to teach myself. The drivers were like, please God, no, don't bring her over to me. I don't want to come. And I'd come over, hey, can I come on the truck? I need to learn. And they were like, no, no, no. I ended up being the vice president for waste management because of this time. Now, the reason why wasn't because I was highly successful and knew everything about this industry. The reason was that same enthusiasm that I had about having this job, that I thought I was so lucky, so blessed to have this job, was contagious to the customers. I thought this was the best company in the whole world. I could not believe my luck. And I would come and I'd talk to people and I couldn't wait to talk to the next person. And thus, I would sell. Now, when they saw this at work, they pulled me into the office the first month and they said, get in here, we need to have a talk. I had hit my maximum quota, which was $5,000. They said, we don't pay you any more money now that you've hit your quota. And so basically they're saying, stop working, right? Does anybody understand this system? And I'm like, oh, okay. So I would go shoot baskets and I'd go on the trucks with the guys, try to get a feel for what I was doing, try to get an understanding. So the next month, I come in and I hit it 2 weeks in. I was hitting the quota 2 weeks in. I got promoted so many times in that organization. They had no idea what I was doing, but we need to replicate that for the others. They never caught on that it was the excitement, it was the enthusiasm, it was the fun. I never caught on, but everybody else wasn't having as much fun as me. Right? This is a privilege, and look at the money I have, right? We're not homeless anymore. We went to Disneyland, I had a new car, things were good. But it was the enthusiasm, it was the excitement, not the skill, right? So it's a lot of opportunity. Now, when you see that you may have a disconnect around you, now the thing that people do is to say, okay, negative person, get away, get behind me, right? And they get rid of all their negative friends. Or you're in work and you think this person is dragging us down, you're out. Or we bring in programs and want to change everybody. And then the people at work think, what's happening here? This person's on crack. They're changing. They just went to some seminar high. The first thing to do is just be like Jane Goodall, which was, this she did a lot of work with chimpanzees, and just observe. Just observe the monkeys, the inmates, the primates in your own setting. Observe them at work. What is going on here? Before we change just for change's sake, what do we really have going on? All right, that's the first thing to do. Just take a look at what we've got. Now, when we looked at this poll answers, here's how it breaks down. 53% of the people are not engaged. 34% of the people say that they are engaged, and 13 hate it there, and they're talking to others about how horrific it is at this company. Do any of you know people like this? All right. Yes. All right. So what happens is when we have people that are positive, they tend to be contagious, mirror neurons, right? When we have people that are negative, they tend to be what? Contagious. We got to watch out for those people. And even somebody that's an optimist, you put them in a setting that there's a lot of negativity, that person is going to be worn down. So the opportunities are, can you get yourself so high up looking at what's good to overcome these negative people around you? That gives a new norm. If you are positive, or you are doing these 2-minute exercises, and I'm going to show you, you are going to change the social structure. Right? So these are things that we need to take a look at. The social connectivity is what people are looking for the most in the workplace right now. They say that they don't feel like there's a culture, they're not having fun. When people have friends at work, they are much more successful. They like going there. They stay. I do some work for the State of California Workforce Development Board. And how I work with them is that employers have a hard time finding employees, training the employees, getting the employees to work, and then keeping them, because they will just leave and not even show up and give you notice that they're gone. So how do we get people to stay with a company? Social connectivity is one of the top things of getting people to stay. We need people to feel like they have friends. This is a good place to be, that they are engaged. When they have social connectivity, engagement rates go up. Now, employees that are disengaged, remember how many that is in total? 66. That's right, 66. Winner. What's that costing you? Yeah, what's that costing your own company? If they are disengaged, 66% of your employees are disengaged, do you need the entire workforce that you have? Or are you overstaffed because everybody is only working part-time but they get paid for full-time? Okay. Something to think about. All right. Here's one of these exercises that I love. On your, I think you have do you have elastic bands? Okay, if you could grab one of the elastic bands and just put it around your wrist, that would be awesome. Okay. Now, the elastic band exercise is brought up by, there's a book on it, and it is the best-selling author, Will Bowen. And what the band is for is that when you find yourself having negative thoughts, negative statements, you change that band over to the other wrist. Okay? So you may think, man, I really don't want to do this today. I've got nothing to eat. Is that positive or negative statement? Negative. Where does the elastic band go? Over to the other wrist. Now you can do this with a bracelet or those thicker bands, like they're using a thicker band. You can change it back and forth. Now, what you want to do is go 21 days of not having negative statements. The brain left unattended 80% of the time will go negative. That's how we're programmed. We need to retrain the brain. In a company, you have people saying nothing about negative. Oh, well, this is the flavor of the day. We've seen this program before. It'll never work. Oh, another meeting. I've got so many emails. Get me out of here. Nobody wants that, and you're doing what? You're bringing other people down. So if you have that elastic band or whatever you choose to have, maybe you buy bands for your whole workforce. Say, okay, this is what we're doing. Every time you say something negative, I'm overweight, I can't do this, I never score high on these things, I can't do a presentation. Those are negative things, but you're doing it subconsciously. You change it over. So yourself and those around you, these 2-minute exercises, will change the shape of your workplace, change your own sense of self-confidence. It's a real game changer. Now, don't think for one moment that in 21 days you will be cured. It'll take you probably 4 months to get this right, because you'll do day one, I did it, this is great, and then day 2, you gotta go back to day 1. It's 21 days in a row. Okay, so you may get to day 6, and then day 7 happens, there's traffic, and you start being negative about traffic. What happens to the band on your hand? Back to day 1. Okay? So you are retraining your brain to be positive. What you're doing is you are rerouting and reprogramming the neurons, the pathways. Okay? This is very important. You can change, or you can just stay the same. But you can change if you want to. And ideally, we want to. Now here was the answer. The cost of this is $450 to $550 billion. Now, when we look at this. Why? Remember the Jane Goodall response of why is this happening? Well, 80% of the workforce say that they are super stressed out, and the majority of those people say that they have no idea how to handle that stress. I'm stressed and I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to go over, Steve, I'm going to talk to you and tell you how horrible things are. And then I'm going to leave. So it's called impulse control. Find it, people. No one wants to know to have you blurt out into their office, this is horrible, let me come in here and dump all my crap here, and then I'm going to go. Thank you. What have you just done? You've just demotivated the other people. Or if things are good and you don't express it, you're doing nothing to lift up. So it works both ways. So when we look at this, 80% are stressed, 69% are overworked, 25% say that the job is their number one problem. A stat that you don't see here is 10% of the workforce are afraid that there's going to be a violent outbreak, that someone is going to hurt them at work. Not good. 76% of the workforce don't feel valued, and they're looking for something else. They're looking for a new job. So when we know this, we can start to maybe, understand what's happening. They're stressed, they're fearful, they're looking elsewhere, but I want to keep them. I see that this person could be of value. What am I going to do? Or maybe they're not value right now, but they could be. They could be a stronger value. Now, Burt's Bees is a great example of this. A few years ago, they were breaking into multiple countries, 19 different countries. It was a big, big deal. Now, with this kind of a business action, you find that there is a lot of meetings, stress, the inbox overflows, and everybody is kind of their feet are held to the fire. Is anybody familiar with this concept? Because this is stressful. We got to get this right. But what the CEO did at Burt's Bees was he would make sure that every week he would do a daily email praising and recognizing somebody on the team for great work that they had done. He was having his management team refocus everybody on the goals of the company. They would take breaks. They were very positive in the fluidity of all the things that they were doing. This resulted in an excellent transition into these 19 countries. Now, what happens typically is when we see something like an acquisition or something expansion or some sort of business situation, or in our own lives we get some sort of stress, is the amygdala, which are the size of the almond on your table. Whoops. Oh well, it's gone now. And you ate yours. So, but the amygdala is it's in the back of your, it's just in the back of your neck here. It's the flight and fight response. But you also have your cortex, all right? The cortex is rational thinking, problem solving. This is the way things will work. When we have stress, so at work, you got to hit your numbers, you got to hit your goals, you got a good test results on this. Stress hits, and the amygdala now shuts down problem solving, and in addition, it speeds up heart, starts to make you sweat and shaky. How productive is that at work or at school when you're taking a test, right? Not so helpful. But at the same time, the cortex, which is the problem solving, the creativity, the calmness, is now blocked by the amygdala. Now you see some people who are anxious all the time. You know these people? Anxious all the time. They are operating out of the fight or flight response, which is in the back. Now this was good at this time, right? This is helpful, fight or flight, but not so helpful when you have a test and you're freaking out and all that you studied is not there, or if you have to give a presentation, Or now you have a stockholder breathing down your neck, or business owners, and you need creativity. But when we think back, 80% of the workforce is stressed. So what's happening to them? They're back here. Not creative, stressed out, not being able to problem solve, and we have a problem. So when we look at Burt's Bees, what he did was recognition for good work. Right? So he's taking this fight or flight response down, the CEO, and helping people remain calm, remain in a calm zone. What are our company goals? Refocus. Clarify the work expectations, promote positive teamwork. So this is what we can do. We may have a big, big goal, a big pressure ahead of us in life, but remain calm, move forward, and the people will be much more successful as a result. They're not working at the level that you want them to work because 80% are stressed out and 25% think the worst thing that ever happened to them is the Soviet Union labor camp, which is the job with you. Okay, so when we look at more studies, we'll see here that this is what people want. They want flex time. They want a location that they like. They want time off. Now, this is very interesting. 86% of people from 18 to 34 years old said that they would prefer a remote work option. This is what's happening now. And you think, well, the older people, not so much so, but 65% of people over 55 say, yeah, that would work for me. So it comes time to kind of switch up the model of the office environment a little bit. But we don't want people completely remote because what happens is then they disengage and they don't have the social connectivity, which is one of the top things that people are looking for in the workforce. All right. What Google does for mindfulness is to help with this stress is that they will give 2-minute breaks where everybody takes their hands off the computer. Okay. This may seem weird to some people, but when you work for more than 90 minutes at a time, you're not effective. So Google, in every 90 minutes, take your hands off the keyboard, and they focus on mindfulness, breathing. So, what does that look like? It just means take your hands off, and you just breathe. Just breathe. Just watch your stomach, breathe for 2 minutes. Now, for those people not doing stuff like that, you think that is the weirdest thing I have ever heard. For others that can do it, it re-energizes, it resets. And now you can be focused on what's going on, be mindful, and you're not distracted of, boy, what's going on in Groupon? Oh, look at this, now I have Caribbean food. You're not being distracted by other things. You can be mindful and reset and start to work again. That's what Google does. Seems to work for them. All right? And some people say that your happiness is genetic. Right? I am just not a happy person. My mom wasn't happy. My dad isn't happy. I am not happy. Have you heard this? No. What do you think? Yes or no? How many people think genetics? Yes. Okay, some of you. I hear you. 50%, as you can see, is genetics. Right? 10% is what happens to you, and 40% is the daily actions that you take. Now, you can trump your genetics. If you do nothing, you're going to be just hereditary. You're just going to be like your gene pool. You're negative. But if you say, hey, I don't want to be like that, I want to change that around, then you can retrain your brain, as I talked about, open up new neuron pathways to see things differently and become different than the whole gene pool. You can become positive. You can change that. All right. Now, here's one of the ways to change that. These 2-minute tips. It's called the 10 and 5 way. Now, the 10 and 5 way is implemented by Ritz Carlton, It's also used by several hospitals. And when somebody is 10 feet from you, you smile and wave. It's not like, oh, you know, you smile and wave. And that's a customer, that's a colleague, that's just interaction. Now, when they're 5 feet from you, you say hi and smile. Now, we are opening up connectivity, social connectivity, one of the most important things to people. We are building teams. We are opening up social connectivity. Now, this may seem like nothing, but I can tell you that it is getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for the hospitals, millions of dollars for the hospitals, because other patients refer. Doctors are happier. People come back. More money for the Ritz-Carlton because they feel like they had that amazing customer experience. Right? It makes a difference. It's the little things. And you do this for 21 days, that creates a habit. It's all about creating habits. We have a habit of brushing our teeth every day. If we can have a habit of saying hi and smiling, that would be pretty good. Right? Now here we are. The positive, are positive people sexier? Well, I like to think so. And the things that people look for, happiness and humor. If you can find someone that makes you laugh, that is happy, that will be such a better partner than somebody that wakes up and makes your life a living hell. Don't you think? Makes sense, right? You live longer, you're less stressed out, you start to think that you are just so much more able of doing more things, of achieving more in your life. And there's all kinds of scientific proof about that. Now, I have one happiness test for you. And there's paper on your table, so if you guys could just grab a piece of paper. If you have a pen, if you don't have a pen, just please do this on your iPhone or smartphone, whatever you have. Got it? Everyone? We're good? Okay. Now, step 2 of the happiness test is why. Let's just take a moment. You don't have much time. You have a few minutes. Why? Why are you happy for that person? Why are you grateful that you know them? 3 minutes. Got it? Okay. So you've got the person. Who wants to give me who that is? Who wants to share? Who would be happy to share? Thank you.
I am most grateful for my mother because she taught me there were no boundaries in life, that I could do anything.
Wonderful. Is she still with you?
Yes.
You're going to phone her and let her know. That is your next step. Is you are going to contact these people and you are going to let them know. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to feel happy, and how are they going to feel? Happy. Anybody else? Yeah.
One of my mentors, he taught me that I'm the only one that's in my own way.
Ah, very good. And as a result, that helped you
Not make excuses.
and get to where you are and have a better sense of life. And you're going to let them know. Now, this is what Lululemon does this, Facebook does this, Nationwide Insurance does this. It's a 2-minute exercise for 21 days. When you get to your computer, before you do anything, you send an email to a person for 21 days. Not the same person, we're not stalkers and crazy. A new person, okay? A new person that you are grateful for. That might be somebody that is the receptionist. That could be somebody that just helped you out. It could be your mom, it could be your dad. But an email of, you crossed my mind today. I wanted to let you know you've crossed my mind several times. I'm grateful for blah, whatever that is. It's better if you pick up the phone. But you will find after 21 days, you will feel great because people will be responding back to you and you are making someone else's day. If you want to get happy, start healing and helping others. Okay? This is the last slide that I have for you guys. These are your 2 minutes, okay? Gratitude. 3 things every day at the end of the day that you are grateful for. They have to be new things. I am grateful that I had this time with you guys. You guys rock. Love you. I'm grateful that, I'm actually slept in a bed last night, not a shopping mall. What things am I grateful for? I'm grateful for the Uber driver. It told me a great story on my way here. Find things. You will retrain your brain to look for the good. That's what we're doing. Our brains go into a room, we see what's wrong. That's what we do. We look up for what's wrong. You are reprogramming your brain to look for good things. So what's good about today? Why is it good? 3 things every day for 21 days makes a significant difference. Exercise is not only good for you, but the dopamine helps you learn faster. Exercise, move, be active. Meditation, the 2-minute, take your hands off your keyboards and just meditate for 2 minutes. It's going to reprogram, it's going to re-energize, it's going to help you deal with the stress of the day. And random acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness, you get the highest hit out of random acts of kindness if you do them all on the same day. I took, what was it, Interpol? Anyway, one of my clients that I was working with, and I said to them, 1 week, I want you to do 5 random acts of kindness. Now, the number 1 is Starbucks, by the way. Probably no big surprise, right? It could be opening a door for somebody. It could be telling someone how much they mean to you. Random acts doesn't have to be anything that costs money. Now, if you do them all on the same day, there's a significant lift in your level of happiness. If you spread them out over the week, not so much of a change. But random acts of kindness, try to find 5 random acts of kindness each week and do that for at least 21 days. And if you're nice, do it longer. Keep doing it. So, one positive person can have a huge ripple effect. That positive person is you. Thank you so much. You guys are fabulous. I'm very happy I was able to share this. Share it with other people.